There are also still you can see lots of damages from the 1934 earthquake. Like this wall is completely bulging out this way, um, and it was here since, let's say, 1934. Obviously, it's bulging out. They have not done anything from the 1934. Personally, I like to keep it as it is if there is no structural problem. But I know that this is a problem with the people, because in general people does not like the bulging wall or tilted wall. Everybody like to see very straight, fresh looking, sharp looking, not like the something like damaged. They don't like to see like worn out pieces. This is the reason, like, you have several times, several places, people are replacing the historical details into the new ones. They don't care about the 200, 300 years old details. They just make a new one. And people like to give money for such things. They don't want to give money for the repairing the things. This is the problem in Nepal. In the historical buildings in like medieval period, I don't think in our culture we have the color system. Everything is kept very natural. Like you see the bricks, you see the wood, everything in the natural color. You can see now this is all blackened. They are actually for last few decades every year painted black because people think that it protects the wood from the insects. So these windows we found from the other buildings. They are not from here, and they are pretty similar to the historical sketches as in this facade. So this facade was rebuilt after the 1934 earthquake. They make the courtyard facade as much as possible historic, but this was they just do the quick job. So you can see windows, they are all like new windows. It does not match with the building. At least we want to match something close to the historical sketch. So that's why instead of making a new one, we try to find the old one which is more historic, and these are pretty similar to what we have shown in the sketch. So this is why we collected from the other buildings. We are going to adopt these buildings into the museum. So Patan Museum is basically focused on the metal works, and this one we want to use as a wood carving museum. We have a few collections of the wood carving from 12th or 13th century. Some of the houses are demolished and we just collected from the salvage store. It's not going to be a lots of display, but at least you have the few nice things, and we want to make a more architectural museum. It's more like explanation about all the details of the wood carvings. We will have the lots of drawings, details, wood carving. So those are the things which we want to keep it here. So it's not only for the tourists, it also helps the scholars who try to understand the Nepalese art and architecture. So they don't need to go sort of like an archive or planning the things. We want to keep it here also in digital form. It makes like easy access for the art and architecture of the Kathmandu Valley. Any restoration project we have done since 20 years, we always try to do in traditional way, traditional techniques, so it can be displayed for the future. Otherwise the future generation won't know how it was used to be in the past. So that's why even it's a little hard and it's a labor intensive than the other normal work right now what is happening around the city. We still keep the traditional way, like building the wall in the mud mortar. It's yellow mud. This is actually, it's not on the surface of the earth. We have to go a little deeper on the earth, maybe a couple of meters. And this has this is not good for plantation. It does not grow well in this thing. So when we use this mud, there is a less chances of having the vegetation growth on the mortar walls, or mud mortar, or even in the roof. In the old days, we never have any nail system. It was all the timber work is interlocked itself. So there is nothing like you can nail. Like here also you can see all the beams are like nailed with the timber peg, not with the metal nail. So this all traditional technique we are following. Sometimes the traditional technique does not work, or sometimes traditional technique has some poor structural instability. Then sometimes we improve those details. But normally, most of the time, we keep the traditional way how it used to be.
At the back of the courtyard, a low-lying door leads through the wooden building and out into the royal garden. This garden is an archaeological treasure trove because it was the dumping ground for debris after successive earthquakes. The foundation of a building dating back to the 12th century has already been unearthed here.
This is the historical picture from 1853, which was sketched by the Henry Olke. He has actually made lots of sketches of Nepal, of Kathmandu Valley. Since this garden is close to the public, somehow they could able to make access to make a sketch. I don't know at that time how they could make. So this is the only couple of photographs we have from the backside of the palace. Otherwise we don't have any other documentation from the backside of the palace. I believe it was since it was a royal garden, it was close to the public all the time. So based on this photograph, like you can see on this pavilion, before we started the work, only the middle section was there. All the woodwork and the roof was new reconstruction based on this photograph. They were never rebuilt after the 1934 earthquake. And also there are steps on the both sides. They were also lost after the earthquake, and that was also built based on this historical photograph. Okay. So here you can see all the detail of the carving. This incarnation of the Hindu goddess Vishnu. You can see like the human body with the lion head, human body with the pig head. So there are several 10 incarnations, and one of the incarnation is also Buddha. Everybody knows Buddha, that is on the other side actually. So here you can see like the stone's qualities are different. So this is still more or less intact, and this is like worn out much more. You hard to see the image, even the face, everything is lost. So even hard to know which god is that. But as a mythological way, we can tell you the thing like this is the god of sun. Like you have he's riding the horses, flying horses like that. So there are so many stories about all these images all the time you can find. Actually, these stones are not the same quality like in the Sundari Chowk. They are a little softer stone than in Sundari Chowk. We call this is a sandstone, and it's worn out faster. And it was all the time in the sun and rain. It has a damp all the time. So someone in IT from the Italy, they have applied some chemical to restore this object. But instead of restoring these objects by the chemical, it was decaying much more, because what they applied is kind of a plastic film on top of the stone, so the outside rainwater dam cannot go inside the stone. It protected from the rainwater, but instead of that, it's lying on the ground, and backside is the ground level is higher. The damp traveled through the ground to the stone, and the damp trapped inside the stone could not breathe outside. So it was sort of like a blocked breathing space. So it makes actually more damage in last 20 years than before. So what we did is we have to rebuild the entire thing. We took out, we number it, we level it, and we try to take it out the chemicals what was applied before. So we I don't know the chemical details, but I remember the name of the chemical what the conservators use. It's called acetone, and they soak this stone in that water soluble thing for 24 hours, and they clean it out by the soft cloth and cotton. So they believe that most of the chemical was wiped out, but still there might be some inside the stone. which might not a big problem for this all these sculptures maybe, but we have to see how it will be things going after a couple of years. We have to test it like is it still problematic or is it stabilized. The main thing is we want to stabilize the thing. We cannot do anything more. We don't want to even the pieces which is replace the pieces which is worn out. We don't want to make a new carving. We just want to preserve as it is. If we make new one, it won't be significant like the historical. So we just want to make it preserved, stable how it is now. This is the most important conservation project taken in the Kathmandu Valley. We are planning to finish this next 4 to 5 years if we have enough funding for the finish the project.
Upon completion of the renovation project, Sundari Chowk will be integrated into a present Patan Museum, and the archaeological garden will open to the public as an inner city park.